Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Father.
As we begin to discern our path forward beginning this weekend, over the last year and a half, we may have felt like the widow of Zarephath. The jars are running dry. We don't necessarily know what tomorrow is going to bring. And yet we are called to trust in the prophet and the providence of God. I have to say that over the last year and a half, there were some sleepless nights here at the parish, just like there were in many homes across Carroll County, across our state, our nation, and our world, as we had to come to terms with the challenges and the heartache of the pandemic. We had to reinvent and find new and inventive ways of doing ministry. We celebrated the Sacrament of Reconciliation together from our cars. We adored the Blessed Sacrament in the parking lot. Jesus traveled in the Blessed Sacrament from one neighborhood to another, crisscrossing Carroll County numerous times, so that he could be present during a time when being able to receive communion was not possible. And what kept me up the most was, how are we going to sustain our parish? How are we going to especially take care of our parish staff as we faced so much uncertainty? During those harrowing months, we got support from the federal government. We took advantage of the PPP loans that were given out that turned into grants that helped to support our parish staff, that helped to continue to provide health care and the benefits that they normally would get. The Archdiocese of Baltimore gave us financial support by refunding some of the money that we normally would send down. But during that time, I was in awe at how a widow's offering, how cents into the treasury, could make a tremendous difference. More people from our St. John family signed up for online giving. Envelopes were routinely mailed into the parish office or dropped off in our mailbox. Some families contributed a large sum. Others gave what they could. And between the PPP loan, which turned into a grant, the money refunded from the Archdiocese of Baltimore, and the contributions of many, our parish remained stable. Our parish remained strong. And little by little, we got back on track. We got the PPP or the PPE that we needed, and all the safety measures in place so that we could reopen our buildings. We prioritized the health and safety of our entire parish family and our parish staff. We took every effort to reopen our parish schools so that our children could once again be in person instead of studying online. And where parishes faced difficult decisions, where some staff members were restricted in hours, asked to take a cut in pay, had to be laid off, and some positions eliminated altogether, I'm very, very grateful, and on behalf of our entire parish staff, I want to say thank you. because no one had to face any of those consequences. Our parish staff remained fully funded. Every position was kept in check. And during a time of uncertainty, you brought stability to those who serve our parish so faithfully and not counting the cost each and every day. You guys have been absolutely amazing. And we are known over the decades and over the last couple centuries that when there was a need, the people of St. John rise to the occasion. And during the pandemic, you were tremendous. And even though we have fewer people in the pews right now, as we continue to recover from those times of pandemic, our offertory has remained stable. Ministries are continuing to come back. And little by little, we're doing better and better. But I thought this weekend I would give you a little bit more of a fuller account of where our parish stands. And I have to tell you that we have much to be grateful for, and I hope that you get a sense of pride for all the things that are happening in your name day in and day out. And so often we don't know exactly what's occurring behind the scenes. The care that's given, the sacrifices being made, the ministry that is undertaken. And so here's just a few statistics and a few of the numbers. We have 4 full-time priests now here at St. John. We're grateful for Father Jude and Father Ray. Father Leandro came on board this past July 1st, and then, of course, myself. Right now, we're sharing ourselves with St. Joseph's up the road after the tragic loss of Father John Lesnick. And Father Leandro is also doing part-time ministry down at Sacred Heart in Glendon to help provide for our Spanish-speaking parishioners there as well as here. The good news is the other parishes are stepping up to the plate. So although we have 4 full-time priests, St. Joseph's is so wonderfully covering the salary and the benefits and all the costs for one priest, and Sacred Heart in Glendon is providing half the salary for another. So that means although we have 4, our parish family is only asked to help provide for 2.5. I've still been trying to figure out how to cut Father Leandro down the middle like Solomon. And he runs in the opposite direction every time we have that discussion. But I want to let you know that your priests are happy. We're satisfied in our ministry. And in my 15 years of priesthood, I can say we have the best community in our rectory where we support one another. When we get together for dinner, we pray together, we share our concerns with one another, we help each other out, we fill in. Our priests are happy, we are fulfilled, and we are well cared for. And we thank you for that. Along with Seminarian Angel, and we're going to be getting another seminarian this Friday. The Archdiocese has asked me to open our home to one more, and there's always room for one more. But we're going to have 6 living at the rectory full-time. I was reminded at the last Mass that actually we have 7. The little girl goes, "Well, Father Mark, you might have 6 people, but don't forget your cat, Misty." So I guess that's 6 1/4. But thank you. We love you guys. We're glad to be here. And the rectory truly is a wonderful place to live and to be on campus with all of you. Along with our priests, we were able to bring on Myrna as our new part-time receptionist in the front office. Gabrielle has been brought on board as our part-time coordinator of grade school faith formation. Brandy was brought on board as our part-time coordinator of middle school faith formation, and Michael, who is behind the console of the organ, agreed to come on as our new choir director, along with helping to accompany a number of masses when needed. In a time when many parishes are having a tough time filling positions, I heard from one of my brother pastors, they've been without a youth minister for 18 months. Some can't find directors of faith formation. Many positions are advertised, but can't find qualified candidates or anybody to apply for the job. We put out our advertisements, people responded, and I can attest that we got the best people to fill those positions. We were able to do it without adding anything to our parish budget. In fact, our salary contribution actually went down a bit. We're being responsible with the gifts that you have given us. We have 3 seminarians from Mount St. Mary's that are assigned to our parish this year. Each and every Friday they are visiting Carroll Hospital and visiting the Catholic patients. We have Seminarian Angel, who's on pastoral year with us. Seminarian Carlos is coming on Friday. And 2 of our parishioners entered the priestly formation program for the Archdiocese of Baltimore. That means this year we have 7 seminarians who are tied to St. John. And they absolutely love your support, your care, and the many ways you help them grow in their journey towards the priesthood. Our parish school is growing and thriving. It has grown for the past 5 years, and enrollment right now stands at 307 students. I can tell you the school has a balanced budget, and Catholic identity has become the absolute #1 priority. Our kids attend Mass every Friday afternoon. Instead of the Sacrament of Reconciliation only being celebrated at Advent and Lent, our priests have made a commitment that we hear confessions every week. And so every student has the opportunity to go to the Sacrament of Reconciliation every 4 to 5 weeks, instead of just twice a year. The Rosary is prayed on a regular basis, the Divine Mercy Chaplet. And just this past Thursday, we started Adoration Thursdays, where the Blessed Sacrament is exposed in the chapel of the school, where teachers and students spend time throughout the entire day. And we go over and celebrate benediction at 2:45, which is live streamed throughout the entire school, so that our children can grow closer with our Eucharistic Lord. A lot of amazing things are happening. And yes, we have STEM, and yes, we're trying to give the best education possible. But formation in the Catholic faith and Catholic identity will always be #1. Our faith formation returned to in-person this year for the first time in 2 years, and I want to thank all of our catechists and volunteers for making that possible. I want to thank Gabrielle and Brandy and Ken for doing a tremendous job. We have 386 children from K through 12th grade. Our RCIA has one of the largest classes in recent memory, with 14 candidates preparing for sacraments, baptism, and full entry into the Catholic Church. On the Feast of Christ the King in just a few weeks, 4 will be received into the Church, and the other 14 this upcoming Easter season. We have nearly a dozen children from our parish and school who are seeking baptism or completion of their sacraments. It is an absolute joy as a pastor to be able to come over here in the middle of a school day and to see a 2nd grade or a kindergarten class or a 5th grade class come over because one of their classmates is getting baptized because they want to be baptized and they're begging their parents to be baptized. That's when you know evangelization is firing on all cylinders and the witness of our Catholic faith is beginning to reach far and wide. Our men's group spent the summer participating in a Eucharistic renewal which they designed themselves. And then this fall they brought it here to Carroll County, where around 300 people are growing in their love and devotion for the Eucharist, not just here at St. John, but our other local parishes. A few projects that are underway or completed. This past year we completed construction on our new columbarium at our St. John Cemetery, and over 80 niches were sold. Interments have begun, and our loved ones are being laid to rest. We finished construction on a new playground for all of the children of our parish and school. The funds were raised by our homeschool association. The playground is fully paid for, and our kids are having a blast. The only problem I have is every time I walk by, they want Father to go down one of the slides. It's nice to be a kid at heart once in a while. We've also raised about $100,000 towards a new boiler for our school. We have the original boiler from the time the school was constructed many decades ago. That money remains in its own account, and I assure you it will only be spent for a new heating system for the school. But here's the thing. The project that we thought that was going to cost around $125,000 to $150,000 isn't necessarily going to work out like we planned. We can't get an existing boiler and move it. Rather, we're going to have to put in a new system. Projected costs went from $150,000 to $250,000, finally around $400,000 to $450,000. That's when I went, time out. With inflation as it is, with the price of steel going up, and you know as well as anybody how prices keep skyrocketing, gas is more expensive, food is more expensive, commodities are more expensive. I thought it was a good time to pause the capital campaign, look at what be the best solution for the heating solution for the school, and instead of trying to raise so much money, let's wait, see what costs are next year, and see if we can find a new and more inventive way of making sure that our kids are heated, not only for our school, but for faith formation and many of our parishes' ministries. The boiler's doing okay, and we'll see what we can do to replace it in the near future, but find a more inventive way that doesn't ask us to give an arm and a leg. In the time being, the money is set aside and will remain there until we need it. A donation was also given so generously for the renovation of the first floor of the rectory. That renovation is underway and will be completed in the next couple of weeks so that we can better accommodate a community of now 6 people living full-time at the rectory. We have one of the largest concentration of priests in the Archdiocese of Baltimore right now, 6 people living under one roof. On the first floor, we're adding a full bath so that everybody has their own space. This past year, we had over 70 baptisms of children and teens under the age of 17. 16 couples were united in the sacrament of holy matrimony before this altar. We provide pastoral care to our Carroll Hospital 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. It's not just for our own parishioners, but fallen away Catholics, Catholics from other parishes. We take care of all that are in need. We also have 16 healthcare facilities that fall within our parish boundaries, and we provide pastoral care as needed. Our healthcare ministers are back, and they are visiting 35 homes of our parishioners who cannot get to Mass. They're prayed with, they're cared for, and they're able to receive our Eucharistic Lord on a regular basis. 2 other major areas. We, for the longest time, have owned 2 homes on Weimert Avenue that butt up right against our parish. We've had a number of people living there, from priests to sisters, over the years, but over the years they've fell into disrepair. We were going to move the pregnancy center there a couple years ago, but that kind of fell through. In the meantime, they've been kept empty. We can't necessarily be landlords, and so the decision was made to sell those 2 homes. Right now, the real estate market is going very well, and it's a seller's market. I'm happy to announce that both homes are sold. We no longer have to care or have the responsibility of maintenance and other obligations. And over $300,000 was put into our parish's savings. This not only helps stabilize the parish right now, but it's a great investment for any future projects. We've also had a number of parishioners who remembered us in their wills and their estates. I'm happy to announce that in the last few months, we've received over $400,000 that is earmarked for the upkeep of our campus and any future projects that might be needed. Those funds are not part of our regular operating expenses. They're set aside and can only be used for specific purposes. It can't be used to keep the light on or fund our ministries, but the good news is that the parish is supposed to have a lot of savings in the bank. That way, in case something catastrophic happens, a system needs to be replaced because we weren't expecting it, or perhaps we face another struggle like a pandemic, our parish will be much better situated to face any obstacles that might come our way. And I thank the families, and I thank Mark Fisher as our realtor for making those opportunities possible for us. So those are the blessings. We have a lot to be grateful for, and I could go on and on and on. I promise you I won't. But here's the challenges. Last year, we had the PPP. That helped to keep our balanced budget. We also had the refunds from the Archdiocese of Baltimore. That helped keep us a balanced budget. And also, over the last 4 years that we were selling niches for our columbarium in our cemetery, all of that income landed last year. We couldn't touch it or use it except for the columbarium, and we couldn't count as income until the columbarium was completed. And so our balance sheet looks a lot better last year than it actually was. However, we did have a balanced budget, and that's thanks to those number of items plus your generosity. The challenge this year is that we don't have PPP, we don't have any more refunds coming our way, and we don't have any more niches counting for income that will be part of our balance sheet this year. The other challenge is that, on average, only 2/3 of parishioners have returned back to Mass since the pandemic began. We're still down 1/3, not just here at St. John, but many parishes across the Archdiocese of Baltimore and beyond. Before the pandemic, we were averaging 2,200 to 2,300 people on a weekend. Right now, we're at 1,500 to 1,600. We still have 1/3 of our parish family that's missing, and yet our offertory remains pretty constant. I want to thank you for that. And little by little, week after week, we're welcoming more of our parishioners back home to St. John. The other challenge is we're trying to make sure that all of our ministries remain robust and that we're able to bring all of our ministries back. But we have less people who right now are able to do those ministries, less people who still feel comfortable being able to respond to the needs of the parish in certain ways. And so here's the ask. You might be going, okay, Father Mark, why are you telling us all this? What's the ask going to be? I'm glad you mentioned it. So here's the ask. In the pews, there's actually going to be cards that look like this. They're on the ends of the pews. If you want to take a look, you can have them pass it down to you, to someone who's next to you. And basically what I'm asking is two things. Number one, I know the climate is still uncertain. We're dealing with inflation. We're dealing with all kinds of uncertainty still. If you and your family are in a position where you might be able to increase your offertory at this time to help further stabilize the parish and also put us in an amazing opportunity for growth in the next year or two, I'd ask you to prayerfully consider increasing your sacrificial offering beginning this weekend and for this upcoming year. There's also a number of other options. Schedule my contributions online. Online giving is now outpacing many other ways in which people are giving to St. John. We would have been between a rock and a hard place without online giving during the pandemic. And so one of the things that I'd ask is now would be a great time to consider going from your envelopes to actually contributions online that you can kind of set it and forget it. And that kind of helps stabilize the parish's offertory and lets us know kind of better what's going to be coming in over a given year. You might want to contribute to an endowment fund, or like some of our parishioners have done this past year, give a legacy gift to the parish by naming the parish as a beneficiary in your will, or setting an endowment fund to help future generations. The only thing that I ask is that if you're going to name the parish in your will, or you might want to set up an endowment fund for either the parish or the school, please set up a time to kind of talk. Some of the needs of the parish have changed over the last decade or two, and we can discuss what might be the best way to make a difference now and in the future for the life of the parish. And so I'm not going to go through an entire pledging process, this or that. You guys know the drill, and the cards are going to remain in the pews for the next few weeks. All I ask you to do is, if you want to make your intentions known and let us know what you might be able to do or what you cannot do at this time, just fill out one of the cards, tear off the one end, and just place it in the collection basket when it comes around, either this weekend or in the next few weeks. In the end, I just want to say, I love you guys. Thank you for all that you have done. You decreased the sleepless nights by a lot, because when it mattered the most, you stepped up to the plate, you gave to your parish family, and you have made a tremendous difference. If you have your 2 cents that you can put into the temple treasury, they're greatly appreciated. And our Lord assures us that even though sometimes it looks like the kettle is dry, the jugs are running low, He will always make sure that we have the resources that we need to proclaim the gospel and to make sure that our brothers and sisters are well served. Thank you. God bless you. And you guys are absolutely amazing.